Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I am with Lisa today. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Me too. So here's how this works. You and I get to be coach and client for a little while today, and the idea is to help you move forward when it comes to food and body challenges. So if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted when it came to food and body, what would that be for you?
I've been wrestling with this question because one of the things that I want most is to not have judgment of my body or other people's bodies be one of the forefront things in my mind. So comparing myself to other people's bodies, judging other people's bodies, and having that be such a like an ever-present thought would be huge if I could just make that go away. And also then secondary is maintaining, like figuring out what my perfect weight is and maintaining that without effort.
Figuring out what your perfect weight is and maintaining it without effort.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you a question about that. Do you have a guess in your mind? Do you think you know what your ideal weight is?
I do have a guess. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And are you at that ideal weight for yourself right now?
No. I have been there, but I'm not there now.
Got it. So it's interesting because I think the two desires that you've just mentioned probably have a close connection to each other. In other words, you want to figure out and use the word perfect, a perfect weight for your body and how to maintain it. You kind of have an idea what that is. Maybe it's right, maybe it isn't, but you sort of know, like, hey, here's a weight I'd like to be at. So how do I get there? And meanwhile, look at all these other bodies out there. Those are better, or those are worse. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're human beings. And one of the things we can get into is comparison and judgment. When did you first notice? Can you recall a time in your life? Like roughly how old were you when you started comparing yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So I was about 8. And I remember it was on my soccer team because we had these little white shorts. Everybody had the same issue shorts. And I remember comparing my thighs to the thighs of the other girls and trying to figure out if my thighs were right, if they were too big or too small, and wanting to fit into whatever the right was.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how those thoughts can enter an 8-year-old's mind?
8-year-old, it's crazy. And I was not overweight or anything. I was a healthy 8-year-old. It's crazy.
How old are you now?
I'm 40. I'll be 42 next week. Got
it. And when do you notice yourself judging yourself the most?
Probably when I'm getting dressed in the morning for work.
Mm-hmm. And do you notice there's times when you're in the least amount of self-criticism where you notice, wow, I haven't criticized myself for a while?
Probably when I'm using my body. So I do a lot of hiking and things like that and skiing. And when I'm using my body and feeling strong, then I find that I am not criticizing myself as much.
Yeah, I just want to underline that because I find that fascinating. In my language, when you're actually in your body, using it, moving it, exercising it, doing something that you enjoy doing, we're not thinking about the body and criticizing it because we're in it.
Yeah.
It's happening, game on. And there's really nothing to criticize in that moment because you're feeling good about being in your body.
Except for yoga class. Yoga class is a place where I am in judgment 100% of the time.
Oh, goodness. Hard not to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's so hard not to be because so many people are able to do yoga consistently, and you can create potentially a nice yoga body if you work hard enough and everybody wears the yoga fashion and they're doing all the yoga poses in a great way. And ooh, yeah, that could be a tough environment to feel good about oneself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you in a relationship?
I am. Yeah.
How long?
About 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. What does your partner think about your body?
He loves my body. We just talked about it recently because at one point early in our dating, because we're both very active, and I was gaining a little weight, and I kind of asked him, how would you feel if I gained some weight, trying to gauge, that my worth versus his love, and is that still there? And what he said was, he's like, I'd be a little disappointed. And I brought it up to him recently, and I was like, I hear that in my head. And he's like, that's your it was a mishearing of what you heard. Because what he was saying is, if you gave up on, moving your body and taking care of your body and feeding your body well, then it would be disappointing. Basically, like if I became a slob, it would be disappointing. Mm-hmm. But he loves my body, and it's great. So
how does that or does that impact you in any way? Like knowing that he has said that, and I'm sure I'm guessing you would know if he wasn't telling you the truth.
Yeah, I would. The voice in my head says like, yeah, that's great, but I could be better, or yeah, but I was this, or yeah, but I'm not happy with how I am.
Yes. So how much weight do you think you should lose?
I would like to lose 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm. What weight would that put you at?
140.
How often do you weigh yourself?
Lately I haven't been, because I've been kind of afraid to. But before, like until the middle of June, like every day. Got
it. And so you're at 140, you want to lose 10 pounds. That will put you at 130, correct?
No, I'm at 150. I want to lose 10 pounds. Puts me at 140.
Yeah. Okay. When was the last time you weighed 140?
Before the pandemic.
Before the pandemic. And this might be an obvious question, but I want to ask it anyway. Why do you think that weight came on? Oh,
I know exactly why. I quit moving as much. I switched jobs. I switched to a very high stress job. I was going to CrossFit like 6 days a week at the gym. I still did CrossFit, but I did it at home. And then my coping mechanism for the pandemic was ice cream. Mm-hmm. So, and I actually, when I first listened to your podcast, like in about 2 months ago, some of the stuff that really, really resonated was eating in stress. And I realized that I have been eating 100% of my meals in stress for 2 years. Mm. And when I switched that and I slowed down and I read your book, without changing what I was eating at all, I lost 5 pounds within about 3 weeks. It was fascinating. It was amazing. I felt great. I felt satisfied. It was fantastic. And that was for about 3 weeks. And now I'm finding like I'm back to like not being able to slow down, not being able to get myself out of that stress state, and being so stressed that I just need to eat quickly so I can move on to the next thing.
Yes. And is that stress largely work related?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're not working from home. Is that correct?
Right. That's correct.
Uh-huh. How many hours a week are you at your job?
It's not a ton. So probably 36 to 40. Mm-hmm. But it's a job where it's a commission-based job, and I have to bring on new clients. So I'm only getting paid as successful as I am. So there's a lot of stress that stays with me.
So there's no base. There's no base salary.
There's a base and plenty of cushion, but I have high expectations for myself, and I want to move through. There's the base, but I also have room to be paid above that. And I want to maximize what I'm doing. And beat everybody else.
Yes, you're a competitive lady.
Yeah.
So part of that competition, part of that competitive nature, by the way, is what would make it easy for a human being to judge another human being about their body.
Yeah.
Or to critique them, because it's not just you looking to look a certain way and weigh a certain amount. There's competition out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we competing for exactly?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's something in me that feels like I'm letting people down if I don't stay in a certain weight or look a certain way. Like, if I feel like I look kind of chubby in my swimsuit, I feel like I'm doing people a disservice. Which is ridiculous. But
yeah, it kind of is. And we think these things.
Yeah.
I think it's the invisible committee that we have in our head. Yeah. There's this committee of humans. They're invisible, but we believe they exist, and they're assessing us and judging us. And we're trying to perform for them, or be good for them, or lose weight for them, or be perfect for them, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So can you recall a time in your teens or your 20s when you liked your body?
There was one summer after my freshman year of college, after summer, I worked on a highway crew, on an asphalt crew. And it was like in the middle of Washington State where it's super duper hot. And so I didn't eat much more than like an apple every day. And I skipped dinner, and I was walking up and down the highway for 12 hours a day. So I got really long and lean and tan. And I remember really liking my body at that point.
Yeah. So let me share some thoughts with you. 42 years old. I love that age. I probably love every age, but I love this age. And the reason why I like it is I'm often thinking in terms of life stages. And I think of the period of 40 to 50, age 40 to age 50. I think of that as queen in training. So you're no longer in the princess archetype. And when I use the words princess and queen, there's no negative connotations. I'm just thinking as an archetype. We can look at princess as the young woman, and there's various stages of princesshood. But when in the princess stage for a female, you're basing your self-worth on what comes from the outside. Do you love me? Do you all approve of me? How do I look? How does this feel to you? Did I perform well? Does my body look okay? Do you love me? And if those answers are yes, you look great, we love you, you're so cute, you're so sweet, you're all these wonderful things, then we feel good about ourselves because the world told us you're good. And this is a sign of youth, because we haven't found ourselves yet. We haven't discovered ourselves. I haven't learned my self-worth. So I'm dependent on mommy and daddy and the big people and the teachers and anybody else letting me know that I'm valuable. And for a girl, a woman, oftentimes we're taught that your value is in how pretty you are, how cute you are, and how you look. And then that becomes a value for us. Now, to me, once we hit 40, it's almost like there's a deeper voice is born. You really start to know more about who you are, what your preferences are, what you like and what you don't like. And there's less room for nonsense. There's less room for things that don't work. There's less room for relationships that don't work, jobs that don't work, everything that doesn't work. There's just less room.
Yeah.
Because you know better who you are. You know your likes and your dislikes. And it's a time to sort of lighten the load. Because queenhood, which I'm going to say starts at age 50-ish, when you really enter your queenhood is the phase where you are abundantly clear that my value is based on who I am. It's based on what I offer to the world, what I give to the world. It's based on my wisdom, my life experience, everything I learned. And I'm a queen who gives to my queendom, your queendom being just everybody around you, your circle of friends, your loved ones, your partnership, whoever the most important people to you, that's your queendom. People around you at work, that's your queendom. And, you know, a good queen doesn't sit on her throne. A powerful queen doesn't sit on her throne and say, y'all think I need to lose weight? If I lose 5 pounds, would you like me better? No, you're not going to follow that queen. You're not going to listen to her.
Right.
You don't want her to be your leader or your mentor or your guide. You want somebody who's self-assured. So to me, that's the direction that you're moving in.
Yeah.
And you're cleaning up.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what you're cleaning up are old thoughts and concepts and habitual ways of thinking that don't work for you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So comparison, your mind, when it automatically compares or when it automatically judges you or somebody else, I'm going to call that a habit.
Yeah.
Meaning the kind of habit that it does itself. It's automatic, it's repetitive, and it's unconscious. Like you don't have to wake up in the morning and remind yourself, you know, I really need to continue to compare myself and to assess and criticize other bodies, including my own. No, it just does itself.
Yeah.
So in order to cease that, which is unconscious and repetitive and automatic, we have to introduce consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
We have to introduce awareness. We have to introduce thoughtfulness and presence and catch yourself. Mm-hmm. Every time you go into that conversation because it's automatic and shortcut it. Like, yeah. Oh, it's not where I want to go. It's not the best use of my time and energy. That is a conscious, willful act of choosing how you wish to think and feel in the world. It's a thought that doesn't help you. You learned it in childhood. You didn't invent that thought, by the way. You're not the only human being who compares and criticizes you or others. Okay. So you and I inherit that from the world. We catch it. It's kind of like a virus.
Yeah.
And in order to let go of that virus, that viral belief, takes a little bit of effort. Mm-hmm. Takes a little bit of thoughtfulness. Mm-hmm. It's a practice. It's just like doing yoga. You got to get on the mat. You don't get the benefits of yoga by, just thinking about it or watching videos of it. You get the benefit by doing a practice that takes a sort of effort, takes a little bit of sweat.
Yeah.
Same with changing your mind. So I think part of the practice that I would suggest for you is noticing whenever you go into that conversation, letting yourself know, I want to catch myself whenever I go into that conversation. And when I do go into that inner conversation, I'm going to go, Lisa, honey, time to let that conversation go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to indulge it for more than 20 seconds. And then the question is, what can you replace that conversation with? Mm-hmm. What thought, what affirmation, what mantra would be interesting to replace that with?
It's interesting because I've done this in other areas of my life. And I'm familiar with this, and I did not link that this is a habit that I can do the same thing with here. So as you say that, I'm thinking, when you were describing the queendom, and I was thinking of, a queen who, you're right, would never let someone second guess her weight or her decisions or her power or any of that. That queendom and that vision is so much more powerful. And then the thought of, they're too skinny. They're not skinny enough. How do I compare to those people? It's such a better, stepping into that queendom phase and holding on to that power feels a lot better.
Yes. So One thing you can do to replace the thought of, wow, she's too fat, or, oh God, she's so thin, I want to be like, whatever it is bless that person, compliment them in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, another beautiful human being.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what they look like. Just another beautiful human being doing their best on planet Earth to be a good human and to be happy.
Yeah, I like that.
Because that's what everybody is.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing their best. They're doing their best given what they know and what they've learned and what they've been exposed to. And who am I to judge? Who are we to judge anybody?
Yeah.
About anything, particularly looks and weight and shape. So how do you just send them a positive affirmation? How do you just send them a blessing of you're wonderful as you are? And because that's the effect you probably want to have on others anyway. You don't walk around at work trying to create, discord.
Right.
And especially if you're creating new accounts, what are you doing? You're essentially creating connection.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating relationship. And if you wanted an account of a person who you would look at and say, oh God, you can lose 20 or 30 pounds, easy. That's not what you're going to lead with. No, you want to create connection. You actually want to see the best in them.
Yeah.
And you want to bring that out. You want to make people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's a value. Mm-hmm. How do I make people feel good about themselves, not just at work, not just for new business that I'm trying to bring in, not just in my partnership or my deep friendships, but how do I make people feel good about themselves relative to their body? Like in my business, for me, I never think to myself, if I'm working with a client or working with a student, I never think, if this person would only lose 50 pounds, I would actually respect them more, or I'd like them better, or I'd approve of them more. Like, no, I already approve 100%. I personally don't care if somebody loses weight or doesn't lose weight. I don't care if they eat healthier or not eat healthier. I care that they're getting their wishes, especially if it's a good wish for them.
Yeah.
As opposed to the kind of wish that sends them into a dark tunnel, i.e., I wish to lose some ridiculous amount of weight that they'll never lose. So all I'm saying is, how do you begin to shift how you see bodies? Because previously bodies have been competitive for you. Mm-hmm. It's been a competitive sport. So you're being competitive with others and you're being competitive with yourself and you want to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what happens in the mind is winning means I hit my target weight and stay there. Mm-hmm. So I've won for me and I've kind of won in regards to other people because I got where I wanted to go. Doesn't look like that person got where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So it's letting go of the competitive mind.
That's hard.
It is. It is. It doesn't mean you're letting go of being your best self. Mm-hmm. It's redefining what your best self is. So when you say to me, I just want to figure out my perfect weight and be there. Okay, I'm going to make a postulation here. I don't believe that you or anybody else has a perfect weight. Weight is a moving target. When you study humans, you take a large sample of human beings who are supposedly at their healthy weight or their correct weight, they fluctuate throughout the year.
Yeah.
Particularly around the wintertime. So people will fluctuate in their weight. People will fluctuate when they've given birth, after they've given birth, after a certain amount of children that you've had. People will fluctuate before, during, and after menopause. People will fluctuate when you take a new job, when you deal with COVID, when we're fluctuating. Your finances fluctuate. Like, what's the perfect amount of money for you to make? Let's see, if I had, I don't know, 10 million in the bank, that would be perfect for me. But then what happens is, meanwhile, I'm not perfect.
Right.
There's a place where the money you have right now, yeah, it's probably got you a nice little place. You probably are okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not starving.
Right.
You're not destitute. You're not on the street. And you can probably have an okay life. So there's no perfect amount of money. Yeah, you might have a goal. That's fine. But what if we take away the word perfect? Because perfect usually means, particularly for you, I think, perfect means beyond criticism.
Yeah.
If I'm perfect, how could you possibly criticize me? I'm perfect.
Yeah.
No idiot would criticize a perfect me. So if I'm perfect, perfect weight, perfect shape, perfect whatever, I'm above and beyond criticism, and therefore I'm good. You know something? Somebody might criticize you. If somebody's criticizing you because of your weight or your looks or your shape, they don't deserve to be in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Or they deserve to be smacked or spanked and let them know, not okay.
Yeah.
You would not put up with your partner or your best friends saying some of the things to you that you say to you.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It would be mean, you would be upset, and you'd be angry.
Yeah.
So if you would be upset if your loved ones said it to you or your best friend said it to you, then that's a good indication that you ought not say it to you.
Yeah.
So letting go of perfect means, what if you were at this weight for the rest of your life? What if you knew that was going to happen? Beyond a shadow of a doubt, you knew I was going to be at this weight for the rest of my life. Who would you be? What would you do? How would you act?
I'd be pretty happy. Because I think one of my fears is that, because I turned 40 and then I gained 10 pounds. And now I've been trying for like a year and a half to lose it and struggling. But I think part of my fear is that I'm just going to keep adding to it.
Yes. So here's something that I find is not conducive to weight loss or finding our natural weight. Something that is not conducive to weight loss or finding my natural weight is anything that puts me in an unnecessary stress response.
Mm.
If it puts me in an unnecessary stress response, I am creating stress chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I am impacting my digestion and assimilation. I'm excreting nutrients. If I'm creating day in, day out stress chemistry, I'm producing more insulin, more cortisol. Those two hormones are going to signal the body to store weight, store fat, not build muscle. Just the opposite of what you and everybody else wants.
Mm-hmm.
All because of stress chemistry, stress physiology. Now, there's normal and natural stresses, i.e., COVID times hit, and that's stressful. No way to avoid that. However, there are certain stressors that are self-chosen.
Mm-hmm.
So a stressor that's self-chosen is, I'm not perfect. I'm not at my target weight. And if I don't get to my target weight, then I'm no good. I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I can't be the real me. A stressor is, oh my God, I can just keep gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. I don't know if I could trust this body. I can't trust this body. What am I going to do? Trust relaxes us. Having faith that your body will stand by you relaxes us.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling love relaxes us. Letting love in relaxes us. Letting the fact that your partner loves your body as it is and doesn't need you to change can relax you if you let it in.
Mm-hmm.
So anything I want to say that helps you settle into the relaxed, confident, self-assured Lisa who, yeah, you can't control everything. We can't control stuff. We don't know what's going to happen. You know, you can get cancer. You can die of a heart attack. You get hit by a truck. I don't know. We can't control those things necessarily. Do our best. But there's a certain trust that I think wants to be invoked for you. Mm-hmm. So the body is not a place of, oh my God, I got to worry about this thing. So instead of doing the kind of exercise that's designed for weight loss, do exercise that you love. Mm-hmm. You love hiking. You love being outside. That's going to feed your body. That's going to feed your soul. I've taken people off of running. I just had them do walking and they lost weight. They couldn't lose weight running, but they lost weight walking.
Yeah.
Took them out of a stress response because a lot of people don't want to run. I find this especially with women. They don't run because they love running and they love exercise and they love moving, through space. They're running because they ate. They're running because they have body fat. They're running because they want to lose weight and they're kind of punishing their body. So that's the state I'm in. So yeah, if I'm busy attacking my body in my thoughts, in my energy, in my words, or in my actions, body doesn't like that.
Yeah.
One of the ways that the body protects itself is it hangs on to weight sometimes, not all the time. So letting go of perfect and just taking that off the table. And maybe for you, giving weight loss a vacation. So taking a chunk of time, and I usually recommend 3 or 4 months, where you are taking weight loss off the table. It doesn't mean, oh, great, party time, I'm going to eat all the cake and cookies I want. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're just taking it off the table and you're doing Lisa. You're doing healthy Lisa. Mm-hmm. What does healthy Lisa like to do that makes you feel good? Relative to eating good food, relative to the kind of movement that you enjoy, relative to the kinds of activities that you like. And yeah, practicing some of the things like slowing down when you eat and connecting with the sensual experience of food, because then you're letting your body know it's safe. You're not trying to do something to it.
Yeah.
You're not trying to pound it into submission. You're not trying to think it or exercise it into weight loss. You're just saying to the body, okay, I'm going to let you just hang and enjoy for a while. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to treat you well. I'm going to do healthy things, but I'm not asking you to be something different. How does that idea sound when I say that to you?
It sounds really nice. It sounds like a relief. And it's interesting because I can actually relate it to pressures I feel at work too, of wanting to be perfect and wanting to perform so that I'm not criticized. And it feels like a really safe place to relax into that. It feels hard, which is like the opposite of what it really is, right?
Yes.
And that's what I found with like those few weeks where I was able to like slow down and get into it and like slow down my stress response when I was eating. I'm almost having a stress response to the fact that I'm not allowing myself to get out of the stress response now.
Yes.
So I'm like stacking because I think because of those underlying things of I'm still doing all of this because I'm trying to make my body what I want it to be, what I think I need to be. So, yeah.
So if you took away that goal, that demand, then it's just you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do. There's nothing to push. There's nothing to force. And it's an experiment in living your life.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to consider applying some of that same attitude towards work and towards how you generate income there. So, yeah, you know that you want to hit a certain bar.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that. You know what you're capable of. And what if we took away the performance aspect of it? Because my guess is if you didn't want to be in this job, you can go find another.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not wedded to this job.
Right.
And you don't have to impress anybody.
Right.
In fact, it's a group experience where, we all have to get along with each other. We're a team.
Yeah.
So your job is not to impress people. That's the little girl who wants to go, ta-da!
Totally. Yes. Like I get such a kick when I hear people say wow, look at what Lisa's doing. Like she's doing phenomenal. Like there's so much of my value tied to that. Like I can feel it in my guts, in my core.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So here's what I think happens. I think that in those moments, you're not 42-year-old Lisa, you're 8-year-old Lisa.
Yeah.
And that childlike part of you is just loving being loved on.
Yeah.
And that's totally great. But what's happening is that child part of you is almost kind of sitting at the head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
She's in charge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we want to bring that childlike part of us along for the ride. But we're not doing this to satisfy her.
Mm.
We're doing this to satisfy the woman in you. And the woman in you knows that, something, even if you don't hit the bar, even if you don't bring in the amount of business that you want to bring in, earn the amount of commission that you want to earn, I don't know that says anything bad about you. That might be the lead you were given. That might be the company. That might be the product. That might be so many things beyond your control. And you can still love you. You can still honor you. Your partner's going to still love you. And you don't need anybody's approval. So if you didn't need anybody's approval, how would you go about doing what you do? What would your attitude be? I think there'd be a little bit more freedom almost because there's nobody to please. You don't get that drug hit of, good job, Lisa. You're so good. But you can give that to you.
Yeah.
In the comfort of your own home. You can ask your partner, you could say to him, honey, every night I want you to spend like 5 minutes and I want you to compliment me in such and such a way and say such and such things to me so I can just soak it up and feel really good about myself as a way to feed that part of you.
Yeah.
So she gets fed. So you don't have to look for it outside of yourself or your partnership.
Yeah.
So it's you learning to lead with the woman in you in the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman in you is leading. The 42-year-old is leading. The queen in training, she's in charge.
Yeah.
When you leave the house, she's in charge. When you interact with other people, when you see their bodies, it's the queen in you that's loving on people, unconditionally accepting them, sending good vibes to them, blessing them, as opposed to cursing them. And sure, I want to feel like the people at work acknowledge me and like me, but I'm not dependent on it.
Mm.
If I just get that at home from my partner, I feel great.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That makes a lot of sense.
So what are you taking away from this conversation so far?
That a lot of these themes are tied together, and it's about, getting that hit to my self-esteem, to my self-worth in various different ways. That is coming from a place that is not who I am anymore. And it's a place where, that was important at the time for my development, for my survival, but it's not important. It's not necessary anymore. And I just haven't done the work to put it aside, or to write, like you said, to lead with who I am now. Like, I've already done a lot of that shedding of the 40s. Like, I got divorced, I switched careers, and I got a new partner who's loving and wonderful. Like, so I've done all these things, but I've been still carrying this former, need to be recognized. I need to be the star. I laugh because I always, in my brain, I'm always thinking I'm going to get recruited for things. Like, when I'm skiing, I'm like, ooh, maybe somebody will see me ski and want to recruit me for their team, like some imaginary team that doesn't exist. Right. Like, even being on this talk with you, I was like, oh my gosh, I got recruited. Like, I get to be here with Marc David. Mm. So it's interesting to me to recognize where that comes from, and that it's not something that I know is not important to me. Like, it feels really important, but that's misplaced. That's kind of like, that's old news. So that's what I am ready to not completely shed, because, I want to honor that and what it was, but that I am ready for a next stage in my life. And this is part of what I need to move beyond.
What a great summary. Couldn't have done better myself.
It was great.
It's just downsizing or right sizing that old part of you. Yeah. So my guess is there's always going to be the part of you that's going to just soak it up when somebody loves on you in that way and compliments you and makes you feel good for something that you've done. That's beautiful. It's very sweet. It's very innocent and childlike. It's just that we're not going to let her lead.
Yeah.
She's not driving the car. She's not the one who's writing the memos at work. Mm-hmm. She's not the one controlling the dials. And you notice when you need to give her what she needs, which means that you give yourself those affirmations, or you have your partner do it.
Mm-hmm. He already does. So it's great. I don't even he's already doing that. So yeah, it's perfect. I can just recognize that and give it to myself, I think.
Yeah. And learning how to let that be enough.
Yeah.
Because you've taken it in, you go, yeah, that feels good. Mm-hmm. And it's also about your life. It's the same way at work. How do you do your work so that you're more in a flow? Mm-hmm. And less that you have to impress somebody or that you have to win.
Yeah.
You can have your goals. You can have the numbers that you want to hit for you, but it's not a competition.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it so other people approve of you. Do it because that's what you want for you, and that's what you want for your partnership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Therefore, it takes some of the pressure off because you're not trying to please all these invisible people.
Right. Because nobody cares. Nobody's even paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody cares.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting because I have this rebel side to me at work and in my food, where I'll I don't even care. I'm just going to eat ice cream again. And I don't even care. I'm just going to look at Facebook and not make any calls, things like that. And so I think it's that's another stage of my life that was there that still is creeping up, probably to relieve some of that pressure that I'm putting on myself.
Exactly. You're rebelling against your own rules.
Yeah.
You're rebelling against your own tight fitting guidelines.
Yeah.
And if we loosen up the guidelines, i.e., yeah, you're not doing this to perform. And if you don't hit the numbers, we still love you. You still love you. Your partner still loves you. The important people still love you.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. So it's just learning to take the pressure off. And when you take the pressure off, you don't need as much of a pressure release valve.
Yeah.
I.e., rebelliousness, eat the bad foods, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can still eat ice cream, but you eat ice cream because you want to.
Right.
Not because I'm rebelling now.
Right.
No, eat it because you feel like having ice cream.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
You feel complete?
I do. I just am like, I've been living under this pressure for so long. It's like, okay, how do I do this? How do I let the pressure off and let go of that, my emphasis on caring what other people think and, my pleasing them. So I think that's part of that queen in transition time.
Yes, absolutely. Great work, Lisa. What a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's really, really helpful.
Yes. Thank you. And good luck.
Yes. Thank you.
And take care, everybody.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.